Hi, I have another growler from Farmstead to review. This one is their Mutual Admiration IPA, which they don't make very much, but originally it was a collaboration with Alpine Brewing. They are a well-known IPA brewer from California who used to have their stuff distributed around here by Green Flash and like contract brewed by Green Flash. So I've had it that way, but I've never had it actually from Alpine, the brewery itself, because that's really, really tiny apparently. And this is not the West Coast style though, because that's what Alpine specializes in. This is the Northeast style that Farmstead always does. But it's kind of an interesting hop blend. It's Centennial and Citra and Amarillo and Nelson. So a lot of different hop flavors, kind of older hops, newer, cooler hops, and then one New Zealand hop thrown in the mix. I've never had this before. I don't even know anyone who's talked about it or mentioned it. Didn't know it existed until I was planning for my trip. Let's see if I can pour out of this growler successfully. It's 6.4% alcohol. And I don't really say anything about the malt bill or anything. So I have a feeling it's kind of probably similar to Susan. That's like their more standard IPA. Give it a pretty hard pour. Big soapy bubbles on top, but it's really thick underneath there. And really perfect, beautiful haze. Just like all the Farmstead beers always have. Looks really good. And this hop combo should be tropical and peppery and piney and orangey all together, so I bet it'll be a little bit complex. Very orangey in the nose at first. Yep, really nice, and that head is just super beautiful. Those big bubbles have popped, but it's really, really thick and dense underneath there. But the way I poured it, it really does look like there's actual soap in the beer, but I know there isn't. I recently accidentally poured beer into a soapy glass, and that was actually a soapy head. There's a little bit of a creamy passion fruit tropical thing from the Citra, and some yeast esters blending in there, bringing out some candy notes. A little bit of cotton candy happening. Pineapple-y too. Maybe kind of mango-y. I'm not really noticing much from the Centennial yet. Which is kind of oomping the orange, I guess, a little bit of the citrus. And the head's still looking really beautiful on there. Yes, that's very, very, very nice. After one sip, we've got some cool lacing happening. They just expertly fill these growlers, because in the past I've gotten so many growlers from places that were really, really disappointing in their presentation, but they know exactly how to fill their growlers. They always do it actually all the way to the top, so I don't even get sound of carbonation when I open it, so it's lost no carbonation, you know. And I also got this filled only a couple days ago, but I've had some Farmstead beers that stayed good in the growler for, over a month and stuff like that. But this is really nice. I think there's a little bit of a sappy sort of woodsy thing coming in the flavor from the Centennial. Not very bitter at all. Not green or garlicky. No kind of stinky, oniony flavors like that happening. Really, really clean finish. With some nice barley flavored for sure. And very, very juicy for sure. But more citrus on the tongue, I would say. More orangey, grapefruity, with a touch of sweet malted barley. Whereas at first it's very tropical. Yeah, lots of pineapple in the nose still. And the feel is kind of light, especially for a beer that looks like this. I mean, it's not super murky. You can kind of You can kind of see my finger through there when I hold it up to the light. But for, a really fruity 6.4% alcohol hazy IPA, the body is really refreshing, and I like it that way. It's not thin or like watery, as some people like to say. I mean, maybe some people would call it. It doesn't have the super thick, overly sweet, chalky feel that you get from a lot of these hazy IPAs, and I kind of like that. It gives you all these fruity, juicy flavors, but then it's really easy on the palate, really, really easy to drink. I don't think we're gonna have too much trouble finishing this growler tonight. Thing's still looking good, even though it's a little humid right now, so that always messes with the head and everything, but very gulpable and very complex. But it's not quite ending with pine needles, but it's a little bit sappy, and the bitterness is building up now, which is pretty good. I want some bitterness. At first it was like, whoa, none of that. And this has like no throat burn, no chalkiness, no weird powdery quality, no weird gypsum chalk flavor, a little bit of a minerally quality from their well water they use, but it doesn't have any of the off flavors or the problems that seem to always come hand in hand with the hazy IPAs. It's just a perfectly fermented and put together beer, as usual from Hill Farmstead. Yeah, I like this a lot. Close to a 4.5. It's not totally knocking my socks off, but I do appreciate how they're throwing Centennial in with the mix. I didn't mention anything about Nelson. I guess if you do a big breathe in, there's some of that green pepper I usually get from Nelson. Yeah, but I'm not really getting as much sort of a white wine character as I often do with that, but there's just a lot happening in this. If I think about it, you could probably focus on each hop and kind of pick them out. But it's really, really well made, like kind of smaller IPA that's really complex, where they really knew how to mix all these very different hops together to make something really cool. So yeah, close to 4 or 5 for this one. Hopefully they'll brew it more often, because it's very nice. I don't know if I like it more than something like Susan. It's a little bit more tropical, but it's a very, very nice beer. I'm glad that I was able to get a growler. Goodbye.